In 2014, India elected the eccentric, energetic, unorthodox Narendra Modi as Prime Minister. Mr. Modi has put a turbocharge in reform momentum. India grew 7% in 2014, 8% in 2015, and 7% in 2016. But in a country of 1.3 billion people, has it been growth for all? While working on the Crossroads India documentary, I spoke with Dr. Jagdish Bhagwati, one of the world's foremost economists.
What has happened is that the new Prime Minister is in fact much better for inclusive growth than the previous administrations. Let me take one example. If you want to do corporate social responsibility, you can't do it if you're making losses, right? You have to make profits before you do the responsibility. In the same way, if you don't have growth, how on earth are you going to bring people up into gainful employment? You can't even redistribute income which you don't have, right? So growth is essential, and that is one important lesson which the Prime Minister has learned. This is one argument which I've consistently used, and against that, my old friend, I don't know whether he still considers me to be a friend, Matthew Sen, and he's always said, growth is not important, it's redistribution. But how do you redistribute? And so he in fact killed the Congress party, because he kept saying growth didn't matter to them, and they believed it. And so they actually wound up following policies which were really harmful to growth, and therefore the consequences followed. So I've always told the current Prime Minister, that look, you're right to want to do all kinds of things for people. If you're a good-hearted person and you're into politics, you want to do something, right? And I distinguish between populism as an objective, meaning I'm for the people, meaning the poor people. I want to do something for them. And populism as an instrument. If you use policies which are really crazy, that is what one should be against. So I said we must distinguish between populism as an objective, which is okay, and populism as an policy instrument. And that is disastrous. And the Prime Minister understands that. So I said, look, the Congress party never really did anything to promote growth. I said, if you want to do good things for people, which you obviously want to do, make sure that your finance minister pursues policies which promote growth, which create revenues also. So you get a twofold effect. If you have growth, you manage to directly pull people up into gainful employment. That automatically helps them. But at the same time, it also, at any given tax rate, it also raises revenues. And when the revenues come in, you can spend them in turn on helping the poor through schooling, through health care, but you have to do them well, right? So that is what we have, a twofold strategy then. One, direct impact, and the other, using revenues to increase that effect, right? And so growth is a two-edged sword as against poverty, and that is, so I said, look, it is easy for you to get carried away and say, I'm going to spend money which I don't have. But if you do that, you're going to hurt the poor, because the poor are not insulated against inflation. Growth is like a nuclear instrument. It really works. It really works. And this is where I think all the opponents of this point of view, who unfortunately are in my old party, in the sense that we were all Congress people in the old days. Some of them are still there, repeating the same rubbish. And others like me have moved on. And fortunately, we now have a Prime Minister who really understands these issues. So when I asked him, what do you mean, Prime Minister, that you want better governance? And he said, first, if I want to build a bus stop in a village, he said, all I need is cement. But I want to make sure that the bus comes on time, leaves on time. And two, a lot of the passengers will be poor. And I want the conductor who hands out the tickets and so on to treat them with respect and dignity. Now, no person who's been trained in Oxford or Cambridge or Berlin or Hamburg will think like that. We think in bigger, different terms. And he's a man who believes in going to the people. And the people he admires are people who believe in going to the poor also. But he's learned economics in the sense that he knows if he just goes and spends money, he's going to actually hurt the people he wants to help. Because he's got to produce the growth and the revenues, both, to get somewhere.
अंदर या ऊपर